I grant you deserve better treatment. Lady Anne's eyes betrayed a momentary depth of feeling I had seldom witnessed. But do not abandon hope, for the fates may yet be kind. This woman, you understand, was more of a mother to me than my own, who could not be bothered even to feign interest in her daughter's affairs. What if it should go badly? Forgive my confusion. Lady Anne straightened up, reverted to her usual businesslike manner. But have you not given me repeated assurances of your desire to see it does exactly that? But if it should go otherwise, you speak in riddles. I took up the small portrait lying on the table beside me and held it up to the light. The painting had arrived some days earlier and had been presented to me along with a note I had yet to open by the Prince's Chamberlain, a man named Count Schomberg. I'd hardly given the portrait more than a passing glance, but now I allowed myself to examine it more closely. Look here, I pointed, at these cherubic cheeks and this tousled hair. The wide eyes and girlish lips resemble those of a schoolboy. It is hardly a man. Lady Anne took the portrait from me. And yet, what if this likeness is terribly out of date, and he should turn out to be handsome and manly? What if by word and deed he prove himself to be honest and worthy? What then? No matter. Should he appear as charming and handsome as Sir Raleigh himself, it shall not move me, for I am determined upon meeting him to be as cold as civility will allow. How could I hope to be otherwise when the offence is so great? To think he had been chosen for me as though I were a foot and he a boot! Humiliation! I will say he reminds me a little of your brother. I don't see any resemblance to Henry. I meant your brother Charles. Then it were better to close the book on him at page 1. You judge your younger brother too harshly. If during his stay the Elector Palatine should prefer to keep company with him, he shall keep less of mine. And yet after Henry it is Charles who shall find himself one day seated upon the throne. Not so had I been born a male child. I glanced up at Lady Anne. Do you think I would have made a good queen? As good and better than even she who was your godmother and namesake, I venture. You flatter as those chicks and hens in the next room. At any rate, we play at idle chatter, for it shall be Henry who assumes the throne, and I am glad for it. Pray there be no more unseen misfortune. Why say you so? I hardly think you've forgotten the events that transpired at Parliament not so long ago. I have done my best to forget. It was coming on 7 years ago that a group of men had plotted to seize the throne from my father and invest me as a child queen. If the plan had succeeded, my entire family would have been slaughtered save for myself. Thereafter, I should have been seated upon the throne of England, my rule overseen by those who had orchestrated the coup. You were only 10 years old, I grant, said Lady Anne, but you know as well as I do that there are yet those remaining who would take matters into their own hands. Indeed. The conspirators were led by a man named Guy Fawkes, but when their ambitions were foiled at the last moment and the perpetrators brought to justice, my father insisted I bear witness to their execution. Even now the images flashed into my head of men being stripped naked, their genitals cut off and burnt before my eyes, bowels removed, hearts torn from their chests before they were beheaded. All the while the crowd roared and I recoiled in horror. For months I suffered crippling nightmares. Here, let me see to that. Lady Anne tucked a lock of hair I'd been brushing aside back into place, fussed over me as a mother might, in a manner both irritating and soothing. Suppose this foreign prince should declare his love for me at first sight, he teased. I think not. You don't consider me worthy. I say it is a fanciful notion best uttered by those who tread upon the boards. Lady Anne crouched to pull a rogue thread from the sleeve of my dress. A fiction, if you ask me, offered up to please those gullible audiences at the Globe. And yet, when Romeo did confess his love for Juliet, were you not moved to see it? It was not love, but mere infatuation. I have witnessed ladies swoon at the mere sight of a certain gentleman, Sir Raleigh for